Hey, Tomasa going gets Ked. This is like my 100th time trying to break this down. But this is actually an example of good stand up comedy here. We got Peyton Ruddy performing on Kill Tony. He's one of the few that I say actually killed it. And he did a fantastic job in a style that was a little bit more unorthodox. And I wanted to highlight this because I feel like comedy it has rules, but it doesn't have strict rules, if that makes sense. And Peyton Ruddy's a good example of how to make a minute work for him. We're going to break down the acting. We're going to break down the writing, how concise he is. He does a fantastic job. And we're going to do a little bit of compare and contrast with some other performances that we've seen in the past on this channel. Um, Before we begin, I just want to say that this is the third installment of my series. This is the first time I'm actually highlighting the good in somebody. If you guys want more breakdowns on comedy and stand up, and you want me to even do my own performance and break that down and sort of what I was thinking and what was going on in my head, be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what the hell you guys think about this. We are on the road to 1,000 right now, and it doesn't seem like we're getting very far. But honestly, the growth has been fantastic on the channel lately. So I just want to thank all of you guys before we get started. As always, we're going to move myself to the corner and let's begin. But before we begin, I want to talk about something that I failed to mention in other videos, but I feel like is important when we break this down. Peyton Ruddy, and actually, I'll mention the other two because I feel like it's important. Attire, what to wear to a stand up set. I feel like some people need the preparation before going on stage, that they want to look right so they can do right. The saying is look good, do good, right? So, what's the attire like? So, what I always hear is no shorts and nothing distracting. I'm just going to call this nothing deep. So, we have no shorts for Peyton Ruddy. There's no shorts. He's got jeans. And then nothing distracting. He's wearing a neutral color on top. This is really good attire right here for stand up. And the reason that you don't want to have anything distracting, nothing distracting, and you don't want to wear shorts is because when you do that, it's going to take away the audience. We'll use this guy because he's got glasses. He's going to look at those legs and go, damn, they're chicken legs. Or he's going to look at the shirt and go, huh, what band is that? Right? If you looked at my shirt, he'd be like, oh my God, is that Lamb of God a Mastodon? And I'll be like, damn right it is. And then he won't listen to half the jokes I say because he's going to be focused on the shirt. That's at least the psychology behind it or whatever. I think some psychology expert can actually tell you about this more better than I can. But for the sake of this, we'll just say that, yeah, this is the general way you want to dress. I don't think there's actually a rule to this. I think you can kill it wearing whatever the hell you want, but for some people, it's something they have to follow strictly and religiously. You'll notice a lot of folks in stand up are quite militaristic with sort of their routines. Like I think Jimmy Carr, he does like a beats per minute and he really dives into that psychology and he's very good. So for some people, they need to be sort of OCD and perfect with it when it comes to it. Others can just wear whatever the hell they want. I'll tell you what, everyone that I've seen perform that kills it usually does wear long sleeve, but that has nothing to do with the way they're dressed and has everything to do with how well they perform and act on stage. So ideally, wear what's comfortable, wear what you think will make you feel confident on stage. And yeah, I mean, obviously, don't bring like flashing lights and stuff where the audience is going to get distracted. But if you want to, go for it. You know, do what you dress how you want to dress with how you feel comfortable, and have fun with it. You know, like I don't get too serious with this, but if you want some conventions that most people abide by, this is it. And actually, I'll show you guys this in this other performance here with this guy. Even though he bombed, and we're actually going to talk about his introduction versus Peyton Ruddy's introduction in just a second, his attire's fine. Like, yeah, he's wearing a fancy shirt and there's a little bit of V-neck going on, but that's okay. And he's wearing long sleeve pants. It's cool. You know, he actually passes this for the most part, unless the V-neck is distracting. Okay, middle school teacher. What, and some chick shorts are too short? You pervert. I really don't think this is a big deal. Look how Trevor Wallace is dressed here as well on stage. Like it's fine. It's fine to have a V-neck. Whatever makes you feel comfortable, like I said. And he's wearing short sleeves. I like to wear short sleeve shirts whenever I'm on stage. It's a personal preference. Some people like to wear long sleeve. I personally prefer short sleeve shirts. And then I want to show this. This is from the Caligari sisters stand up. I don't like this attire as much, but once again, he went on stage and he performed. There's a lot wrong with this performance because he is reading off the phone. And we talked about this when I broke down the Caligari sisters and, just the awful preparation and performance on stage. But this would be an example of attire that I don't think would work because we have the ice cream pants, we have text on the shirt, we have this over here. He's very well dressed. All things considered, he's very well dressed, but I do think that this is more distracting if we are to just solely look at how he's, you know, how his attire is on stage. This would be an example of bad attire because this is something that is more distracting. But again, wear whatever the hell you want on stage. Peyton Ruddy, I've seen him perform. If you go on his channel and you see his performances, he'll sometimes wear band shirts. It's perfectly fine if the content is good. But if you're someone who cares about the psychology of it, I'm going on for like 10 minutes about fucking clothes here, but it's something that is talked about a lot in stand up focus groups and stand up, workshops. So I just figured I'd highlight it. Wear what the hell you want, be comfortable. But again, conventions exist for a reason, right?
Hey, good to be here.
Also, one more thing before I continue, right? If your entire performance boils down to how well you dress, like if that's what's going to be the make it or break it between a killing and a bombing, we really need to start talking about we really need to start talking about the quality of your set. Sorry, I didn't mean to go on about that, but that was just something that came to mind.
Hey, good to be here. I got a girlfriend now. Sorry, fellas.
Right away, he blitzed a joke, and it worked. This isn't always going to work. We'll show the bombing as an example. Um, why? Why did this one work and the other one didn't? The other one I'm talking about is this.
Thank you. You ugly people.
All right, so what's the difference between this performance here and the one that Peyton Ruddy just did? Well, for one, Peyton Ruddy was warm to the audience. Obviously, he said, "Hey, good to be here." He's happy. He doesn't use any ums. He says, "I have a girlfriend now. Sorry, fellas." Little bit of a light roll with the audience, just saying, "Hey, guys, you know, I'm off the market. I know what you're thinking." I've seen this joke played out a few times with my mates and stuff, and we'll joke about us being like attractive for our guy friends. We all do this, by the way. Everyone here does this, or we joke about being gay with the boys, or if he's talking to the chicks, or if he's saying, "Hey guys, I'm taking, you're not, sucks to suck." Whatever it is, works. And the reason it works is, I guess he's just having a little bit more fun. Whereas this guy, he's trying to shock the audience by saying, "You guys are all ugly." So this is a little bit lower risk with higher reward, right? Because the low risk being, look, I'm more so ripping on, the audience being attracted to me, and if they're not, they're not. And they're gonna laugh and they're gonna have a laugh about it anyways. There was a guy who I performed at with, he was doing an open mic, and he had a joke that was something like, "I look so good and lots of women want to have sex with me." And someone immediately goes, "Ha!" He didn't think the guy was attractive, but that sort of joke caused laughter in the audience. So a little bit of self-glaze never killed nobody, especially if it's from a point of just obviously you're being silly. See how he's, speaking. He's obviously he's a very goofy guy. So yeah, you'll notice that here. And even when you watch the breakdown, which I'm not going to watch the post show, the post performance interview, because that's for Kill Tony and for Peyton Rowdy's channel. Go check it out if you want. I'm only breaking down the stand up here. You'll see that he's a little bit more goofy as a character. Attacking the audience, that's not how it's going to work, buddy. But this is a good example of a great opener. It's better than the "How's everyone doing?" I do a "How's everyone doing?" because I'm a square and I'm still new to the game. But this is a fantastic opener.
I was doing Tinder for a while, and a lot of comics they talk about Tinder because it's like infamously the worst dating app. But the craziest thing to me about Tinder is when I was doing that, when I created my profile, Tinder makes you pick like a whole bunch of hobbies and interests that show up on your profile. You cannot finish creating your profile without picking hobbies and interests. So Tinder gives you a big list of hobbies to pick from. I thought this was weird. Did you know you could pick Black Lives Matter as a hobby? That's a hobby?
Okay, we're going to stop here and we're just going to say that this joke, from the moment he said sorry, fellas, to now, that was 30 seconds. Now, I know a lot of you guys who saw my last video know that I ripped on the guy who bombed for taking forever to get to his point. The difference here between this guy, Peyton Ruddy, and the other one is that I felt like every word that was said here needed to be said. Because the premise here is that Black Lives Matter is on Tinder. And that you need to, that it is a hobby. Right? He could have went on there and he could have been ultra concise and said, "Do you guys know Black Lives Matter is on Tinder?" I felt like the way he did it here was fantastic. He sort of painted a little picture. He got the grass, he got the sun, he got a little flower in there, you know, by telling us all about, hey, I'm on Tinder. Did you know on Tinder, when you're creating a profile, you can select a range of hobbies? Did you know Black Lives Matter is a hobby? I think this is good. I think this is a good idea of painting the picture, you know, talk about all the hobbies. And then what sort of destroys the picture and what makes it funny is that BLM, it's just going to look fucked up. BLM ruins the sunny day, right? But BLM sort of death rays and destroys this idea of hobbies like tennis and whatever that form into your brain. I like this a lot. I like this a lot. This is a good example of painting a picture. It does take a little bit longer, but you can see that the reward was laughter. Another thing I like to point out here too that I really like from his from this was he said, "Did you know Black Lives Matter is a hobby?" And he let his body language sort of convey how silly that is before he talked. And we'll see that again here.
I thought this was weird. Did you know you could pick Black Lives Matter as a hobby?
Look how he's looking, right? Look at the facial expression. He's a little bit confused. Yeah, you know, he hits this one of these, showing obvious signs of confusion before he says anything. And I think this does a fantastic job of, I guess, telling the audience what he's feeling without saying anything. And this is what some people call show, not tell, right? But once again, when you're on stage, a lot of people who don't have this really good connection with their material don't know to do this, or connection with themselves. They don't know how to do this. And they'll just say, "Did you know Black Lives Matter is a hobby?" Right? The way he's showing visible confusion and stuff, this is some expert shit here. All right. We're dealing with the pro. Look at that. Another interesting. Even this, even opening the hand when he's holding the microphone and hitting this facial expression like, really? Tells it's way funnier to do this, trust me, than it is to just say, huh? You know, make sounds, just being silent, letting the audience marinate in how silly it is, how silly the concept is. I think it really sells the principle here, you know, really taking the Black Lives Matter as a hobby, image, and destroying it. And also, we're going to commentate on some things after the performance, but I want to talk about the joke selection, the premise selection, and why it's so brilliant on this Austin comedy scene.
That's a hobby? I support Black Lives Matter. I mean, you know, that's not a hobby to me. That's just something that is. It's like food or something. I'm like, all right, yes. Black people, acknowledged.
So right away, once again, sort of taking the absurd here and making a compare and contrast. I think that's good. I think it's good to sort of continue to paint this picture of absurdities, you know? And we're going to see how this builds into the giant punchline at the end. But building this compare and contrast really. So already he's destroyed the picture, right? We're going to draw the little picture again with the sunshine. He's already destroyed this picture, but he builds upon the fragments of the picture to develop more ridiculousness, sort of showing how weird this scene is, how weird it is to sort of view this as a hobby. So he's destroyed the picture with the Black Lives Matter imagery. But now he's building upon that and sort of building a new scene. Like, could you imagine what it's like if this was seen as a hobby? And I think this is brilliant. I think this is a brilliant transition into a new picture.
Exist. If you don't know what a hobby is like something you can do after work, like you can squeeze in with the free time, like playing the drums or something. You want to do that with the lives of black people?
Once again, pointing out the ridiculousness, building the picture for what's going to be the ultimate punchline here. This is really good build up by Peyton Ruddy. It's still a joke within the joke, but you're going to see how this builds up into the final punchline, which is right here.
That's your hobby? That's kind of fucked up. How do you explain that to somebody? Somebody's like, do you support Black Lives Matter? And you're like, I'll be honest, I have been swamped at work recently, so.
Fantastic. Fantastic punchline there. Hitting it with the dialogue. I'm swamped at work. Can't support Black Lives. Fantastic minute here by Peyton Ruddy. And I feel like what makes this so much more special is that he focuses on one premise. He sticks to one premise. He puts a bunch of jokes in there under the same idea that BLM equals hobby, right? I should put this here really. That BLM is a hobby. Fantastic stuff by Peyton Ruddy. He's not blitzing across several jokes. He's not, working at breakneck speed. You'll see a lot of guys crack dad jokes when they go up on Kill Tony because I only have a minute. What if this premise doesn't hit? I'm going to go with this. Peyton Ruddy takes a gamble, sticks to his guns, and does this sort of slow burn, the slow burn horror. I hate people that are like that, but I'm being like that right now. I'm glazing the shit out of Peyton Ruddy's performance. It was fantastic. Another thing that I really want to talk about here is the Austin comedy crowd, especially at the Comedy Mothership. So I'm not trying to say the Austin comedy crowd because it's not necessarily the Austin comedy crowd so much as it is the Comedy Mothership, which is Joe Rogan's club, which is where this show usually takes place. The Comedy Mothership has an edgy problem, right? We saw in the last episode of me breaking down stuff in comedy that you'll notice that the Comedy Mothership does like to play on the edge a little bit because the people that run the Comedy Mothership, namely Joe Rogan and stuff, they like to push the boundaries of, I guess, what's, allowed. But in doing so, they sort of are like, oh, this is a safe place to just rip slurs because it's a cheap laugh. It's like dick jokes, pussy jokes, eating ass. All these are considered cheap jokes by the masses. But, you'll get a cheap laugh out of it and it's safe, right? Whereas when you go to the Comedy Mothership, it's almost expected that you're going to rip on something that can punch down on minorities, can punch down on gays, or any sort of oppressed group, women, gays, minorities. Tony gets ripped on for being gay all the time. You'll notice that all these comics, mostly Tony, will rip on Peyton Ruddy for being fat. I'm not going to show that stuff after the fact because I feel like it takes away from how great Peyton Ruddy's performance was. And I thought the rest of it was pretty hacky by the panelists, which is a little bit of a shame because these are supposed to be professionals, right? I like that this guy's laughing, though. Shout out to him. But yeah, calling him fat over and over again, that's pretty hacky shit, right? But you'll notice they do this. They do this in the Comedy Mothership a lot. I feel like BLM as a hobby really appeals to this Austin crowd very well. I don't know if Ruddy realized that, but BLM equals hobby, fantastic thing because a lot of this Austin crowd, they're going to say, oh, this shit's ridiculous, right? People who would normally joke about BLM would talk about, I guess, some conspiracies or how they think it's stupid or whatever. Whereas all he's doing is, yeah, I'm taking the concept of Black Lives Matter. Some of you guys are acquainted with this. Some of you guys are familiar with this. Why is it considered a hobby? And I think that that is something that unifies all sides and still, keeps it with good intentions. I think the joke selection was terrific given the crowd here. He clearly did some research as to this Austin crowd and what kind of jokes you need to tell in the minute. And this is well written, right? He doesn't rip any ums. He doesn't rip any shits. It's a minute. How are you going to, you got to have a minute prepared. I think he says, he's got to say less than 300 words. You can have 300 words memorized in order, principle to principle, concept to concept. And he does a lot of acting too. You'll notice we're going to go on mute for this next bit. And we're just going to see some of the body language here. Like the I have been swamped at work. Hitting the little belly acting there, you know, just being like, damn, it has been rough. Anything that calls for being ridiculous, he's going to do hand raising, pointing. Facial expressions. I already broke down the facial expressions earlier when he was doing like, that's a hobby? Opening the hand whenever you're holding the microphone. These are all subtle cues of body language that really illustrate mastery of the material here, a true connection to, really, that's ridiculous. Even the acting here, like if we go to playing, he goes from one character to another. Lives of Black people, right? Yeah, see, acting, he tilts the head and then switches characters by looking straight. Fantastic stuff by Peyton Ruddy here. What are the general points that we can take from this? There's a lot of points here that are actually really good. For one, this really emphasizes the power of acting in comedy. Acting is great. It actually, I think, is more important than how well you write the material. I think acting is one of the more important things, period, when it comes to performance on stage, because it's just you and your material. But a lot of people neglect this in favor of good writing. All right, the second point that we want to get across here is that styles, I guess we're going to go styles. You can do a breakneck blitz speed, but you can also get away with just having one premise and sticking with it and making several jokes within the premise. So we can also talk about, I guess, also recycling is what I want to call it. He had one big premise, I guess, one big setup, and he built on that setup and created several jokes after. If you recall his pacing, which I do a little bit, let's say this is the start, this is the end. He rips one joke almost immediately. Then he has about 30 seconds of half his time building up the next joke. Then he says like another one, the lives of Black people, I've been swamped at work. So his pacing does average out to faster than 20 seconds per joke, but he has a massive void where he's able to just sort of recycle off the same buildup. And that allows for the slower burn style of comedy here, because normally what you do is you build a picture, right? You build a little scene, you build a picture, then you destroy it. Then you got to build another little cute little picture, right? Little sun, destroy it. What Peyton does here, and what I think is really unique, is he builds the scene very delicately. Yes, he does destroy it, but he takes, like, let's say this little fragment here, you know, and then he's able to just sort of build on top of this little fragment. So all he's doing is adding a little bit more, making another joke, adding a little bit more, making another joke. Fantastic stuff. Great choice selection too, knowing your crowd. I guess we'll call that another point here, know the crowd, right? This is the comedy mothership, and this is Kill Tony. So I guarantee you he's already had this written in because he doesn't rip any ums. He doesn't rip any you know? Just straight minute of focused comedy. And the material that he shows will resonate with a crowd that thinks it's more edgy, but it's also safe and has good intentions behind it. He's not, notice how he is joking about Black Lives Matter. He's not joking about Black Lives Matter being dumb. He's joking about it as a hobby as opposed to just supporting Black lives. So this is, you know, yeah, you're joking about BLM, but it's in a way that I feel like anyone can sort of get behind and think it's funny. So massive checks up for Peyton Ruddy here. Please go check out the rest of the video. I only reacted to the first minute 25. There's 10 minutes of the footage that you guys got to go check out where he's interviewing Kill Tony. And he has many other videos on this channel that he does a very similar style. He also has an Instagram where I think he's a lot more active and sees a lot more success, unfortunately. um, because he does great on YouTube as well. Go check out Peyton Ruddy. I'll put a link to the video in the description. And I guess shout out to you. If you want to copyright this video, that's totally cool with me. I understand. I did rip your best minute of this video. But go check it out. Go check out the Kill Tony episode if you want. And with that, I've been Ked. Thank you guys so much for watching. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. We'll see if I keep doing these comedy breakdowns. They're doing really well algorithmically. A lot of you guys seem to enjoy sticking here and seeing what I have to say about these performances. And yeah, maybe I'll do a full breakdown of everything I know one day and we can just move on. And yeah, but if you guys have your own clips that you want me to audit, let me know. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Be safe, eat your Wheaties, and yeah, tell your parents you love them. Peace.